Honestly, sober and it. I used to do drugs, like Xans and stuff, Molly and stuff. I had to literally put that stuff down. And it was because I went to the lowest point in my life where I had to literally say, okay, I can't do this no more.
What was it like for you, like when you were first walking on stage and the crowd were almost screaming word for word for all your songs?
Yo,
What was that feeling like?
that was insane. I had a feeling it was gonna be lit, but right off the jump, energy was off the rip crazy, like insane. It was like unbearable. I couldn't believe it. Like I'm in a whole new part of the world that I never been to, and they are just loving it. They're screaming at the top of the lungs, and there was so many guys that were screaming. It was crazy, and it was just so beautiful to see that, man.
I mean, to know that your music is like traveling continents and like over the waters, I mean, again, that just shows how global your sound and music has become.
Yeah. Damn, it's crazy. All you will say, it's just so crazy. It's a blessing, man.
Yeah. What is like your process before you come on stage? Do you have any like rituals? Is there anything that you do to calm yourself down? Like, how do you prepare for a show like what you had on Wednesday?
I'll take a shot or two. We pray. Me and the team or anybody in the room, we just pray. Sometimes I pray. I like hearing other people pray a lot sometimes because I always be praying and stuff. I like to pass the torch, different people praying, you know. And yeah, we just go on stage, get hype, and just stay in that zone, and then I just go on stage and do what I do, you know. Yeah.
I saw you with like Nines was at the show.
Yeah, my thing.
There's always been that relationship between Canada and like the UK. Like, explain to us what it's like actually growing up in Canada. What's the environment like in terms of the musical landscape?
Oh man, when I was growing up, Toronto had its own scene in the city, but never noticed to the world, you know. So, you know, Toronto rappers would mostly have fans from Toronto people. That's generally the fan base, you know, not from New York or LA or the UK, or generally from Toronto. So, it's only come to a point where now, because Drake has put so much spotlight on Toronto and not just like the rap, but everything about the city, it's given an opportunity for so much people to just come out in the arts and broadcast what they like to do in the arts, you know. And I'm still so young and blessed to be a part of it, and like, you know, in this new world of music and arts for Toronto, a new Toronto, you know, that Toronto's never been at this point, you know, even in sports and in music and anything, even in media and anything like this, you know. It's just as a city itself and not just Drake, you know, or just one person from the city. It's a whole collective, you know, as a city. It's really beautiful to see, you know, a birth of something new. Cause I remember when I was a kid, I'm seeing a lot of Toronto rappers. It was just, we were just waiting for somebody to bust. We were waiting for somebody to just go, you know. There was so much talent, and it was just, you know, I was a little country kid, so it was different for me, you know. Like, I never seen a lot of people making it like that, you know. A couple guys doing their thing, really doing their thing, you know, and they get respected for that, but nobody really going and busting and doing their thing. And like you know, like you could just go to the next city or go to the next block and holler at a man and he's actually a guy that's doing his, you know what I mean? And you could learn from him or something like that. Like, it's not like that, you know. It's only starting to become that with guys my age, you know.
I guess you're talking about probably people like Cardinal, Official, who was like making waves
Yeah.
back in the day, but it never really got over the hill commercially.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Cardinal was definitely a man. Definitely, you have to give respect to Cardinal. But when it comes down to putting like Toronto as like a whole city, you know, not just like from one part of just one man, but as a whole city, on a new wave that has never been on before. It's never happened. No other artist has done it but the boy.
Yeah. You said about the new Toronto, and being that you're relatively young, is it almost a lot of pressure that you have to carry now because the spotlight is on Toronto, the spotlight is on artists like yourself,
Uh-huh.
and you know, how do you contend with the pressures to like continue almost the legacy of what Toronto or the new Toronto is now?
Just by continuing to stay me and what has brought me here, you know. I know like the only reason I'm on my label is because they love who I am. You know, they want me to be me, and I love the fact that I'm on a label that wants me to be me. You know, so I just gotta, you know, make sure that I follow the gut feeling that I always get. You know, and know that if I'm know that I'm throwing out positive energy, positive vibes. You know, and even if you know, it doesn't matter about what I feel or other people would, you know, say to bring me down. It's not about that. It's what I could do for other people to lift them up. You know, I can't let negative energy bring me down or anything like that. Any negative vibes. You know, I have to make sure I'm always enforcing positive vibes. You know, that's the only way I could survive in this place. You know.
I mean, let's talk about Say Less quickly. In regards to that, like especially when I hear you singing,
Yeah.
I can hear the Michael Jackson elements. To me, that's what I feel. And you obviously took some cues from Michael Jackson, but at what point did you then first know that you actually wanted to make music, and how did that transcend into like coming out with a Say Less project?
When I really wanted to make, like, how'd I know? I just really wanted to make good music and show my city what good music is. You know, I felt like I had the ability to do that. I knew what it sounded like in my head, so I wanted to put it out there and make it. I didn't know it takes such a long time though to get what I got in my head out. You know, it took a very long time, but you know, I knew I can do it. You know, I wasn't gonna let anybody stop me from doing that. And when I felt like there were a couple artists in my city that were just putting out trash and getting away with it, I was so disgusted. I'm like, you can't rep my city and do that, and then try to get away with it too. Like, nah, we need good music in order to get out of here, you know, or good music in order to, you know, influence and teach, you know, not just trash and get away with it. I didn't respect that, so it just birthed something in me like a fire, you know.
Now, how do you know what to keep on the project and what to cut from it?
I felt for this album, it wasn't about getting getting a certain message out. The Say Less wasn't the message. It's the whole project itself. You know, I want everybody to know that I can do everything, right? And then there's no limitations to what I want to do. You know, that's where I just say less and I just do more. That's what I mean by that with the album. I just literally did more and gave you one vibe each song. I gave you a whole new world. I took you throughout the entire universe. We went through different planets, and through each song we went to a different planet. You know what I mean? And that's how I approached the album. And I felt like I had certain songs that made you go into a world, make you go into a vibe, a feeling, an energy, and then you were able to escape that and go into a new one as soon as you get into the next song. You know, that's what I wanted to get from the album.
And initially, when you released it, like, how excited were you? Like, it's like your project's out, the world can get to it. Like, what was the feeling? Were you with the team? How did you celebrate? Tell us a bit about that moment.
Kirby, what did we do? What did we do when the album dropped? We was gone. I remember we was gone. We left. We did some press, and then we came back. We had the album release party. That's what we did.
We did the 3 album release parties. Came back
yeah.
and did the Toronto one.
That was we did the. Yeah, that was it. That was it.
One at that little.
At that little.
venue.
Yeah, I don't even remember the venue, but
It's like a big open space.
it's huge. We had a listening party in LA, a listening party in New York, and then we ended it off in Toronto for the day of the album. And that's what we did. It was lit. It was really lit.
Okay, I'm going to read some questions from IG that I got for you. One said, from G Blaze said, what made you transition from a hip hop rapper into singing?
My manager just told me to sing. He's like, yo, you could sing, bro. And I never believed in my voice like that. I never liked it, so I always rapped more. But he said, "Yo, you should think. It's like it sounds good." So I sang and continued to sing. I continued to make R&B music, you know, and it became the music that like I was telling you, when I heard the music, I heard it, like, that's what it was. So now I just continue to do whatever and experiment.
Okay, and one said, "What? How?" Okay, this is J700. How did you come up with your stage name, and what inspired it?
I didn't come up with it. I had a kid. There was a kid. I didn't have a kid. There was a kid that lived in my building, that went to my school. When I first came out with my first name, and that was Pression, short for depression, and he said, "Yo," he came up to me in school one day. He said, "Yo, your music's not sad. Why do you have the name Pression?" I said, "I don't know. I really don't know." And then he said, "You should change it." I said, "What should I change it to?" He said, "Roy Woods," just like that, on the spot. And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, yo." So I said, "All right, bet. I'm gonna go take a survey." So I took a survey of like 15 kids, and like the majority said Roy Woods because I sound like I could sing and rap at the same time.
Okay,
So,
that's amazing. This question is, what was the lowest moment in your life that you've had to overcome to be where you are now?
honestly, sober and it. I used to do drugs, like Xans and stuff, Molly and stuff. I had to literally put that stuff down. And it was because I went to the lowest point in my life where I had to literally say, okay, I can't do this no more, you know? So,
And this is one which I don't think it's going to happen, but they said, would you ever like to live in London?
oh, that's all right. That's no question. That's no question. I'm moving out here soon, bro. I have to. It's too lit out here.
When I was watching your IG stories when the pigeons,
Yeah, yeah,
they
there
were
was
eating each other. And
it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Apparently, it's a regular thing. Apparently, it's a regular thing. So I was like, this is insane. I don't see that back home.
yeah. And just in moving forward, what can we expect from you moving forward now? Because what struck me from your show was the mix of the crowd, black, white, Asian, male, females.
beautiful.
It was all mixed. The queue was crazy. But what do you now see for yourself for the rest of the year?
What do I see myself?
What do you see for yourself?
What do I see? Just staying on road right now. Just experiencing more traveling, more fans, more of the world, and just more, like more work. I've been so busy, more busy than I've ever been. So I'm expecting a lot of the unexpected for this year. You know, just whatever's coming at me right now. Yeah.
And then my last question to you is, what do you now see as your purpose in music?
The same purpose that I've always had when I wanted to when I really got into like artistry and said, yo, I gotta be the best. And it wasn't to be the best rapper or singer, it was to be the best Roy Woods that Roy Woods could be. And that's what I have to prove to myself every day.